What up, people? It's the Dub Podcast on I Live for Saturdays, the best college football channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays. 4 as in the number 4. Like, comment, and subscribe. And, March Madness starting up. We're already in the Sweet 16. This is Friday. Yesterday, Kansas destroyed Purdue. West Virginia couldn't put the ball inside the hoop. I don't know what kind of play call that was at the end. Goddamn Xavier, big time upset. Shout out to Xavier, man. Amazing basketball program. So much respect for them I have. Who else won? I think Oregon won? Yeah, I think it was Oregon. Oregon won last night as well. So yeah, it's been fun, March Madness. But this year, and I did do my bracket, I just didn't put it out because I knew it was gonna be shit, and it's been pretty much shit. And I think everyone's has been shit so far. Yeah, I haven't enjoyed the tournament as much because the Hokies were actually pretty decent this year. They were actually pretty good. We got the 9th seed, and as soon as they went down, you know, I didn't really want to watch the tournament as much. So I haven't really been watching the tournament. This is the first time in a long time I've had that because I love March Madness. I really do. It's a lot of fun. I love basketball. So lots of basketball games within 2 weeks is pretty awesome for me, and high quality for the most part. But I guess that's what happens when your basketball program is starting to become competitive again. So, or for the first time, really. So that's a positive in a way, but I kind of miss enjoying all these basketball games. I don't enjoy them as much, but I will watch the Final Four, and that should be fun. Spring football right around the corner, man. And here's the thing about spring football. Spring football is shit. Okay? Spring football is fucking shit. It means barely anything. I don't know how many coaches year after year come out and say, hey, this spring game means nothing. Barely anything. It's just what our team looks like at this point. It's mainly for the fans to sign autographs and greet the players, you know, get the players a little more motivated, and it's the first time they get to hit each other in a live kind of a setting. But besides that, spring football shit, guys. Spring football to me is crap. Now I'm gonna watch a little bit of the Virginia Tech spring game. That should be a little bit of fun. But after the first quarter, second quarter, I'll probably check out. That's about it. I'm not watching Alabama spring football. I'm not watching Florida State. I'm not watching nobody, man. Ohio State. I don't give a fuck about no spring football, man. It's a extra glorified first week of preseason NFL. That's all it is. Spring football shit. It's just for college football writers and bloggers to talk about. And it's cool. I have no problem with updating people. Updated information or updated depth charts. I have no problem with that. That's not my problem. My only thing is when the fans and media start speculating, oh, yo, freaking Ohio State, they look good and they look like a force to be reckoned with. That's retarded. That's stupid. How are you going to judge a team on a spring football game? They're like half-assing most of it. Most of the better players aren't even playing through the whole thing. Half of them are sitting it out. So I hate spring football to some point, but it's kind of like preseason in the NFL. You know, the first week everyone gets so hyped up for it because they've been starved from football for a while, and football does a good job of doing that, of starving their fans. You know, unlike soccer, even though soccer is still an amazing product, soccer is almost nonstop. There's like a 3.5 week break and they're right back into a new season. Especially in the Mexican soccer league, like they have like a week and a half off and they're right back in it. But yeah, spring football, I mean, it's all right, it's cool, but the hype over it and so much attention about it, kind of fucking stupid and kind of annoying. You're not gonna find a national champion through spring football. Just look at their goddamn recruiting rankings. It's a lot simpler. And let's move on to what the amazing state of Arkansas, who's given us so much to society, the state of Arkansas has now proposed a bill, and I think it passed. I'm not 100% sure in the news. Someone fact check me on that. I think it passed. But I also think it's being revised right now, where people will now be allowed to bring guns, citizens, fans, to bring guns at basketball and football games. What in the fuck? How is that? Why is that even a thing? I don't understand this. Just the fact that a crazy person can just, not even just the average Joe who's drunk, and that's what everyone's saying, and you're right. The average Joe who's drunk and gets in a fight, he might pull out a gun and shoot somebody. That's stupid as fuck, right? But a crazy dude can fucking easily get a handle of this gun and be allowed to bring in a gun. And then you got the people defending it to say, oh, well, it's actually going to be people with the special permits. Only they can actually bring in the gun. You don't think people could get special permits? There is literally no point to doing this. There's no point of doing this. The guns are going to make you more safe. And fucking spare me with the special classes that you have to take for this. I've seen those quote-unquote special classes. A lot of them are fucking shit, and they're fucking dumb, and they're, hey, shoot that target 9 times today. Okay, congratulations, you're certified. Okay, so fucking spare me with the special class. Now, there's some good special classes out there, and I've actually seen some on YouTube. Great. But how many of them are there out there? How many of them are funded? How many are well funded? And how many have great teachers? Yeah, it's probably very low. I don't trust anybody with the special permit. If I'm an average person, I do not feel safe with someone with a quote unquote special permit. An average citizen with a special permit and a gun. I will never trust that person. You know what's the easy fix of all this? It's just bring in more police officers. If you're really that afraid of someone shooting or a shooting in the basketball or football stadiums, just bring in more police officers. Fucking hire more police officers. I don't understand what the fuck, how hard is it? And this whole thing, for the main part, there's 2 things where this whole fucking stupid ass law was thought of. The main number 1 reason, and don't fucking tell me it's not, and you still think it's a good reason, you're fucking insane. ISIS or a Islamic attack could happen at a football stadium. Sure, if it's the New York Giants, if it's the Dallas Cowboys, if it's even goddamn Soldier Field, I could believe, yeah, you know what? All right, in some ways, we should increase security. Okay, I'm totally for that. Because ISIS or an radical Islamic terrorist could do something crazy. Okay. But ISIS does not give a fuck about Fayetteville, Arkansas. Okay, I'm sorry. ISIS, let me say that again. ISIS does not give a fuck about Fayetteville, Arkansas. Get the fuck over yourselves and get the fuck over your fear. Rural America, you do not have to worry about ISIS. I'm from Chicago. I have to worry about ISIS. ISIS could come in and bomb the fuck out of the goddamn Sears Tower. Or other people call it the Willis Tower. But if you're from Chicago, you call it Sears Tower. Okay? ISIS could do that. They don't give a fuck about Donald W. Reynolds Stadium. They don't give a fuck about Razorback Stadium. Okay? They don't give a shit about it. They could give a fuck less. They'll probably fly over Fayetteville and be like, ooh, how can we help out those people? Do they need any assistance? And you know, I'm sorry for those Arkansas fans. I don't mean to be so rude, but I'm just so mad at this bill. Can you guys please step up and say, hey, this is fucking stupid. Also, number 2 reason, which is reasonable, just a crazy person, anybody, white, black, Latino, Native American, Asian, crazy college student that comes and shoots up people. But again, my solution is just beef up security, man. Have more screenings. Have less guns. Have more guns on police officers that we trust, that actually went through a police academy, went through tons of training. Trust those people. I'm never going to trust Joe Schmidt sitting 3 seats left of me with a gun. I'm never going to trust him with that. Fuck that. Repeal that shit, Arkansas. Get your shit together. Get your fucking shit together. So let's move on to the NFL. And the NFL recently, and people are calling it a social justice stance for trans people in America because they believe what is right. Oh yeah, or other people call it, or other people see it as, oh, NFL getting into our politics and trying to go into our lives. Why don't you guys just stay out of politics and just do football? Both those sides are fucking dumb. Okay? NFL could give a fuck less about transgender people. NFL could give a fuck about white people. NFL could give a fuck about black people, gay people, straight people. They don't give a fuck. You know what they care about? They care about money. They care about making money. And the NFL is run by a bunch of super smart ass fucking people. I think it right now is the most profitable organization or sports league in the world, even above the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, all soccer leagues, everyone. I know number one easily in America. They compete with Disney. They fucking compete with ESPN. They're out here competing with goddamn Fox. That's who the NFL real competition is. Okay? And the NFL sees this and knows that this transgender bill is gonna be looked at similar in the future, in about 40 years, as really stupid, really dumb, and almost to the point of Jim Crow law. Like that kind of a negative connotation to it. All these transgender bills are anti-transgender bills. That's why they're threatening Texas. They don't give a fuck about goddamn transgender people. Like I said, they don't give a fuck about anybody. They just care about money. And I'm just trying to be real. They don't care about politics. If the NFL could, goddamn, they're goddamn crucifying, or they're not letting Colin Kaepernick into nobody's goddamn team right now. They only care about money. And they see this transgender bill. They talk to people. They're fucking smart. They got inside sources. They got smart people that they talk to. And they're saying, yeah, in 40 years, yeah, transgender people, they're just going to go into the bathroom like they've always been for the last hundreds of years. And nothing's going to happen, like always. And nobody's going to care. And that's going to be life. So get on the right side of history, because you might be looked at like something in the 40s. Like I know like basketball had the requirement of you could only have 3 black players back in the 50s or 60s or something like that. And that's what this law would be looked at. You know, a dark history in your league. NFL does not give a fuck about no social justice stances. They know what they're doing, and shout out to them. Okay, shout out to the NFL. I'm just glad I get to watch more football. That's all I care about. Texas, get with the times. Stop caring so much about goddamn how people piss. Transgender people been going to the bathrooms for years, in any bathroom or whatever. If you're a male transgender, a woman transgender, they've been going to the bathrooms for years. Your daughters haven't been molested, okay? Chill the fuck out. It's not a big deal. We've been fine. Go to the bathroom with your kid like most people do. Goddamn, I take my daughter to the men's bathroom. What? She's not going to go by herself? That's fucking crazy. Why would I send my daughter by herself if she's that young? Okay? Fucking spare me. The NFL isn't a social justice league. They care about money, yo. They care about the money. So I wanted to talk about the stats don't mean anything kind of thing. But maybe I'll make a separate video later on about it. Maybe like a 5-minute video about that. The stats don't mean anything argument. I'll do that in the future. Really quick, I'm going to do the QB rankings, and then I'm going to get into Friday Night Tykes. If you're a Friday Night Tykes fan, you haven't finished Season 4, I suggest you skip that part, and I'll probably put a link below or a little quote below or something, or an annotation or something. But really quick, QB rankings, NFL draft. Number 1, or no, let's go number 3. Number 3, Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky today probably has the best skill set out of any of the quarterbacks. Probably the most polished, probably the best thrower overall. And he's actually a really good athlete, by the way. He's a really good athlete. Like, he could run. He's a big, thick kid. But I don't see a lot of upside with him. I mean, some scouts say he's got a good ceiling. I don't see that much of a ceiling. I don't see any special abilities besides precision throws. I hate his throwing motion. If you have that wind-up kind of throwing motion where you, at any point, you make like a little circle kind of a thing where he does. I mean, like when you bend your elbow is mainly when I look at quarterbacks. If they bend their elbow in an awkward way, I start laying off of them. Cam Newton was one of those quarterbacks, and he's had a shaky career. He's been up and down. He was NFL MVP last year, but he hasn't been good besides that. Or he's been solid, but he hasn't been that great besides that. But he's the exception because he's 6'6", 260 damn pounds, so he can bend his elbow whatever way he fucking wants. His muscles are so huge that it doesn't matter. But Mitch Trubisky isn't that big. He's a big kid, but he ain't that big. You know, that could not only will he not get enough power, as much power as you can with that throwing motion, but he also can get an injury in the future. Deshaun Watson, number 2, because he's the most mature quarterback I've seen since Andrew Luck. I like his throwing motion. He's quick as fuck. He's a great athlete, incredible leader. Got all the intangibles. Not the best thrower, to be honest. If you're gonna want Deshaun Watson, I think something like an Alex Smith is probably his highest ceiling. Don't expect him to make incredible throws down the field. Lots of check downs. Make a very simple offense. Surrounded with tons of talent early on in his career. Maybe when he's 31, he becomes a pretty good quarterback. You know, and he's got great feet. He's extremely quick. Again, he reminds me a lot of Alex Smith, I'll be honest. And number 1 is Deshaun Kaiser. You know, this isn't the best draft, but the kid's got all the tools. He's huge. He's big. He's got some feet. But his arm, he's got a fucking cannon for an arm. He can make some beautiful, gorgeous throws. But the main thing he's number 1 is just he's got the most potential out of one of these guys. I think he can really grow under some good tutelage, under some good care. I think he could be a really good quarterback in this league. He's got all the potential. So I like Deshaun Kaiser. He's my number 1 guy. Okay, so my favorite show, probably since How I Met Your Mother ended. Friday Night Tykes. The best damn show on TV. It's not even close. Season 4 just happened. If you haven't seen Friday Night Tykes and you have Netflix, you are fucking up. You are fucking up. Get on Friday Night Tykes right now. Season 1, Episode 1. And just start binging that shit, man. Just get all through 1 to 3. Season 1 all the way to Season 3. It's amazing. It's incredible. Quick preview if you've never seen Friday Night Tykes. It's essentially youth football in Texas in a league called Typha, where there's pretty much no pee-wee rules. You don't have to play. If you only want to play 11 players and you got 40-some kids on your roster, you could only play those 11 players. There's no like running up the score. Oh, hey, you can't run up the score on us, or just run up the damn score. And I think they actually end to prevent all that. They end the game when it's at 50. Parents get crazy. Coaches get insane. Players are awesome. The best young kids you're gonna see out there. Maybe if you go out to Florida, you'll probably see some better players. But overall, it's just amazing. It's awesome. Incredible moments. You see some horrible things. Parents say horrible things. Coaches say horrible things. But overall, the product is amazing. I don't know why people are so afraid of Friday Night Tykes, I'll be honest. Because they don't like that. They hear, oh, Parents are terrible. Coaches are terrible. So this show is terrible. It's got to be garbage because they're glorifying bad things. It's pretty much what I love about shows like Friday Night Tykes, and I like to watch Vice a lot, where they go into, like, you know, the life of a drug addict, or how guns are being sold in Chicago, gambling addiction, all this stuff, all this horrible raw stuff. But it's real life, man, and it happens. And I think it's always a learning experience when you go through it. And sometimes you could even, like, take some things and relate it to your life, shows like these, and you go, oh my gosh, I do that same thing. I don't want to end up like that. So let me tweak my life a little bit here. You know, that, to me, I think that's why I like Friday Night Tykes a lot, because I learn a lot about myself. Because I try not to be, I'm a coach too, and I try my best not to be what the worst coaches are. And sometimes I see little traits in them that I see in me, and I go, oh my gosh, I got to change my life. Let me tweak my life more. But even like the parents, you know, a player, you know, a ref, a goddamn owner of a team, whatever. You know, you don't want to be like all the bad traits of them. So you try to take them and you try to tweak yourself, because it's such a raw show. So that's why I really love Friday Night Tykes. It's raw. It doesn't apologize to nobody. This actually sounds like if you're a Trump supporter, you probably love this fucking show. It's raw, doesn't apologize for nobody, doesn't give a fuck, just goes with it, and it's just itself. Even though actually I think Trump is a con man, is a fake ass dude, but you know, that's what his supporters think. So if you're a Trump supporter, you probably would love Friday Night Tykes. But the review for Friday Night Tykes season 4, it's the best season by far, man. It is amazing. If you haven't seen it, and plus, by the way, spoiler alert, I'm actually going to talk about what happened in the season. I debated what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to talk about what happened in season 4. Okay? Spoiler it right now. If you haven't seen it, go on, watch it on demand. Find the damn bootleg on the internet. I think YouTube's got some videos. Ask me if you want a goddamn copy of Friday Night Tykes. I'll email that shit to you, dog. I will record every episode for you because I love it and I want to talk about this damn show with the world. It's the best damn show I've ever seen since How I Met Your Mother. Okay, but season 4 is the best season. So let me talk about really quick the Storm, the Texas Storm. Paul Hurt is the head coach, and to me, Paul Hurt is a pretty smart play caller. Pretty an offensive coordinator. He's pretty good. But, you know, obviously if you don't have the talent, it just doesn't matter. But I also think he's a big pussy. And if you're listening to this, Paul Hurt, I hope you're not. I don't mean to offend you. That's just how you come off on the show. Also, disclaimer, there's a lot of edits, I'm sure. And I've heard reality shows like these, they'll edit little voices. And sometimes they'll actually add in things that people didn't say. So I'm going off of what the show gave me. I'm not actually going on necessarily what's the truth, because I have really no idea what's the truth, because these shows like to tweak little things. Okay, so Paul Hurt also has a wife, Mrs. Hurt. I forget her name, and I don't really care about her first name. I really don't care. Mrs. Hurt, she's garbage. Okay, she's a terrible coach. As a coach, I'm not talking about as a person. I'm talking about as a coach. She's a terrible coach, from what we know. And I don't know what the X's and O's or her motivation. Maybe the kids love her. That can be all great. But how in the season, there was about 10 to 15 damn times where she said some stupid ass shit. Okay? Things like, oh, that was a headshot. The ref isn't throwing any flags. The ref is against us. And then she had the fucking genius idea to pull out the team and say they quit, they're forfeiting, they're not going to play. And they also weren't going to pay the ref. And I don't think they actually eventually paid the ref. Because the teams are responsible for paying the ref. So all that shit happened. But she doesn't have any talent. Your kids are terrible, okay? And no offense to the kids. But the kids don't have talent. They're not good. They were getting their asses handed to them. They lost to the goddamn the Vipers. The Vipers were a terrible team run by also another terrible coach. And y'all got blasted by like 40-some points. But they sent out complaints. I think one of the Typhoon commissioners said, this is like the 4th time they've sent me this day. But they're getting killed every single game. I don't care if the ref is literally against you. If you're getting beat by 40 points, it's not the ref, dog, it's you. So yeah, the whole Texas Storm organization, that's a trash organization. I'm sorry. It's just bad. It's really bad. The Venom, the new team on the block, led by Corey Jefferson, head coach. The whole organization is run by Chris Davis, and that duo might be one of the worst duos I've ever seen, besides the Hurt Family and the Texas Storm. The Venom, from what I see, is not from the team they gave us in the season, was not well run. Chris Davis hovers around Corey, the head coach, like a goddamn mosquitoes on old fruit. Like that's how hard he hovered around him and try to micromanage him throughout the whole season. But to his defense, I will say that Corey Jefferson might be one of the worst coaches, probably top 5 worst coaches in Friday Night Tykes. And that's saying a lot. There's been some really bad coaches in Friday Night Tykes. But my favorite quote from Corey was, "Well, I'm a volunteer coach, so I don't have to take this too seriously." I think I'm paraphrasing there. I don't think that's necessarily exactly what he said, but that's essentially what he said. And he said that a few times. He actually showed up late to a coach's meeting, and he was like walking, taking his sweet ass time, talking about a car while he was like walking over there. Like, oh, like that's a nice car. Like, dude, you are the head coach. You signed up for this. You didn't have to sign up for it. No one forced you to sign up for it. But if you sign up for it, fucking do it. If you got that same attitude, how the fuck the kids didn't pay for that? Because apparently it's free. Friday Night Tykes is free. If you play on one of those football teams, it's completely free. The kids aren't paying for shit. They don't have to be there. They're essentially volunteers. So if you have that same fucking attitude, how the fuck do you expect a kid to work hard for you? And if you're a volunteer, again, why the fuck did you sign up? I'm sure there was a bunch of people that wanted to be the head coach. Maybe some aspiring football coaches. They wanted, hey, it's my first startup, and just wanted some experience. A young guy. Maybe he just wanted. He could even been an assistant coach, and one of the assistant coaches could have moved up to head coach. But essentially, you took a job away from a person that actually cared about coaching football. Because you didn't, bro. You did it. You might be the worst coach I've seen because you literally do not care about coaching football. You really don't. So to me, and I'm glad he had a bad season. My heart goes out to the kids, but the kids at the end of the day, if you don't win a championship, all the seasons are pretty much the same. And as long as you don't win the championship, and as long as you don't lose every single game, the season's pretty much the same. You could go all the way to the goddamn semifinals and lose. The kids feel the season about the same. Like, you could go 2-7, and kids don't really care that much. Like, especially that young, right? The older you get, the more you do care about that stuff. But these kids are like 11. They don't really care that much. They're just out there having fun. They're just trying to ball, man. That's all they care. They want a touchdown. They want to get some tackles in. They want some catches. They want to rush. They want to get some passing completions in. That's all they care about at the end of the day. And so to me, I was glad that he had such a bad season because it shows that you can't just have that fucking attitude of, well, I'm a fucking volunteer, so I don't have to give a shit about this, and expect to be successful. You can't. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's not possible. And also, the Outlaws, they separated officially. I think they did it last year, though, but they separated officially from the Snoop League and the Home League, or the Home League team and the Typhoon League teams. From what I know, because I think the Snoop League teams players, they have to pay to play in that league. I'm sure it's just to pay the refs and travel and stuff. But essentially, the Typha League Outlaws are now called the 210 Outlaws, run by Coach Jay Joplin. He's a really good coach. And the Outlaws, it just shows how great of an organization, a well-organized organization they have. They do really well. They do fantastic. I won't spoil it that much. I'm not really spoiling it that much right now. I probably won't until the end of this. But they do a fantastic job. They have a great season, and it's just well run by a bunch of awesome dudes that really care about kids and really love the game of football. And to me, I just want to give a shout out to all those coaches. And they've talked about it many times before. A lot of those kids don't have dads, apparently, in the Outlaws organizations. A lot of those kids come from really poor backgrounds, and they're always there. And to me, at least from the edited version of these shows, they do a pretty awesome job of actually truly caring about these kids. And I think Coach Joplin said many times, like, he doesn't really care about winning that much. Like, winning is good and it's fun, and he's trying to win, obviously. But he showed, even when they lost, the message to the kids, they're good messages. Like, hey, guys, we worked our butts off. We worked hard. We did a lot of good things, a lot of great outcomes. When you're focused and all that stuff, you get good results and you end up playing well. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And, that's an awesome message for the kids. And I think they do an awesome job, man. They really do. Outlaws is a first-class organization. I'm just going to get into the Snoop League Outlaws, and then I'll wrap this up. But Snoop League Outlaws, Fred Davis, Coach Gilroy. Coach Gilroy, one of my favorite coaches of all time, because he's the perfect assistant coach. He's a little crazy. He's a little off the wall. He's the loudest. He's probably the scariest, and that's the best. You need at least one assistant coach like that on your staff, always, whatever the sport is, and any team sport at least. You need a coach that's a little off the wall, a little off the chain. And he's also one of my favorite coaches because he might be the first person in my life that I've ever seen mispronounce his own son's name. His name is Esteban in English. His name in Spanish is Esteban. Okay? He pronounces it Esteban. Do you? That's fine, man. But that is one of the more funny things I've ever heard in my entire life. Esteban. Wow. I love that coach. I really do. And this kid's a really good player. Coach Mariquez obviously back with the Outlaws. And a lot of weird controversy between the two. And you saw last year with Fred not really letting the reins off Mariquez. And here's the whole thing about that situation. And I think Fred Davis is absolutely fantastic as a head coach. He's unbelievable. He's probably the best head coach, youth head coach in the state of Texas. But Fred Davis needs to understand that if you bring in a guy like Mariquez, you know who he is, and they're close friends, and so they know each other. You know who he is. You know what his personality is. And you know what kind of offense he had with the Colts. You saw it. It was flashy. There was a lot of power football on it, but there was some flash to it. There was some innovation in it. There was a lot of cool, awesome shit about it. And if you bring in a guy like that, you gotta know that he's gonna do the same thing. If you're gonna bring in Mariquez, know who the fuck he is. Know who the fuck his offense. If you just wanted to hand the ball off to Mizell 40 times a game, you could have been the offensive coordinator. You could have brought in goddamn Nick Saban if you wanted to and just tell him to pound the rock 40 times a game, 50 times a game. Just freaking, you could have. Why do you even allow Tadion on your team? Let goddamn, I forget his first name, but his nickname is Daddy. Just let Daddy and Mizell run the ball. If you just want to do that all fucking game, fucking do that. You don't need to have Mariquez there then. If you're going to bring in Mariquez, let the reins off. You've seen the ingenuity. You've seen the genius in his play calling. You've seen what he did with the Colts. Let him do his thing, man. once in a while, give him suggestions. Just be like, hey, man, I want to kill the game right now. Let's pound the rock. And if he says, hey, man, just let me do my thing, then you probably said it a million times to him. So just say it the first 3 or 4 games that you want to do that, and he'll get it. And, hey, what are you going to do, Maricus? Oh, yeah, we just got to pound the rock, and we're going to let this game go. All right, cool, man. That's it. That's it. You don't need the damn drama in it. You don't need to put in your whole goddamn opinion. Hey, we got to give it to Mazel, man. We got to get it. No, let Maricus be Maricus. He probably has a whole game plan. He probably has scouted the whole damn other defense. He probably understands, okay, we're going to run these plays a few times. We're going to sucker these dudes into this play. And then we're going to hit them with the complete opposite. And that's what I saw him at the Colts do all the fucking time. Okay? Maricus is fucking a beast coordinator, all right, at least for youth football. And I've seen it a million times run the same play, and then coaches go, they're running that same play, and Maricus goes, whoop, nope, little lateral or little play action, go deep to this one kid, and he's wide open. I don't know how many times I've seen Maricus do that. If you're going to bring in Maricus, let Maricus be Maricus. That's all I'm saying. And so at the end, again, spoiler alert, the Outlaws win the national championship once again. They're the best organization in youth football in the entire country. Steel Country has the Central Valley Warriors. They're an awesome organization in Pennsylvania or in Western Pennsylvania, but they don't touch the athletes that the Outlaws have, especially now in the Snoop League. It was a great season of Friday Night Tykes. Somebody fucking pay Fred Davis $100,000 to be their high school head football coach. I think it was Big Easy on Twitter. No. Somebody else, actually. I completely forgot. On Twitter. I said that on Twitter. And I think they said, well, in youth football, you could pretty much pick your players. In high school, you really can't. I would actually say to that, which is why I said that, is there's only a few programs, and and it's overhyped how many programs actually can pay $100,000 or pay real salaries. But I'm talking about programs that can pay $100,000. Like, I'm not talking about programs that pay their coaches $50,000 a year and it's a real job. You know what I mean? I'm talking about $100,000 jobs. I'm talking about the top jobs. I'm talking about the big time programs. And if you're a struggling big time program, go out and get Fred Davis. Give him $100,000. Let him hire a staff. Let him set up this whole thing. He ran a full organization. He was the head of everything, at least from what I know. And then he turned it into a national power. So, to me, if you're one of these schools, and especially if you're like a private school that can recruit, bring in Fred Davis. Stop fucking around. If you're struggling and you have the money to spend, go out and get this man. Also, some high school program, go pay Maricus to be your offensive coordinator, man. Go pay Maricus. He's innovative. He's smart. He loves the game. Someone go out and pay Maricus Goodlow some money. And also hire Coach Gilroy, because he's awesome. He's fucking awesome, man. He's awesome. So that's pretty much it. That's my Friday Night Tykes review. Best season I've ever seen. I'm excited for the next season. Where the fuck is Steel Country at? Esquire and Friday Night Tykes crew, the film crew. Where the fuck is Steel Country at? I'm waiting for this. It was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago. The hell, man? I can only be out with Friday Night Tykes for so long. I need more parents screaming and fighting and coaches beating up players and shit. It's only happened once, and it was actually just, I think, a push or something like that. It was actually this season. So, yeah, crazy messed up, but it's still awesome. My future work. We're at the end of this podcast. I'm going to update the dynamic duo rankings, and I have those. If you want to go see those, I think it's called like all-time dynamic duo ranking or something like that. Top 10 duos of all time, something like that. But it's only from 2006 all the way to present day. I haven't updated it. And I remember when I made that, I said in the summer I would update it with facts and numbers, accolades, all that stuff. unfortunately, when I did that, a few weeks later, I think my whole desktop broke down. And that was back in like 2011 or 2012, I think, actually. So finally, it's what, like 5 years later, I'm gonna actually update it with facts and numbers. And I was in a Twitter debate about my number one and Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin, who's better, Pat White, Steve Slayton, or Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin. If you were any part of the debate, or you think that debate is pretty interesting, get ready for when I release this video. So it should be pretty good, or that podcast. So it should be pretty good. I think it will interest in you, just for the fact that it's a duo ranking. I think it'll be pretty fucking awesome. Got a lot of stuff I've already seen. Also, possibility, but I need something to record pretty much my live feed. It's not live feed, but record what I'm doing live on my laptop. I want to do a podcast or I want to do a series of what I call How They Scored, and not football. So if you're a football fan, I'm sorry, but soccer goals, because I'm actually very well researched in the game of soccer. That's one way to put it. But essentially, I just want to break down how soccer goals were scored, in Champions League, Premier League, Bundesliga, whatever, and just break it down. So be on the lookout for that. Also, position rankings coming back. I did that back in 2011. Very popular videos. Essentially, I do like top 10 wide receivers. I did top 10 DBs, or actually I did top 15 DBs, so all corners and safeties, all combined. I did top 10 linebackers, top 10 running backs. I did top 10 QBs. So all that is coming back in 2017. Preseason rankings, obviously. Preseason position rankings for college football. So just to make that clear, preseason position rankings for college football 2017. So that's coming in the summer. And my podcast, or my series of The Rise of Clemson, which I still haven't had a great title for it. But essentially how we got to this point where Clemson became the national champs. So I think that's super interesting. From what I got so far, it's pretty dope. So be on the lookout for that. So I'm not lazy out here, man. I'm working in real life, and I'm working on these podcasts. My only thing has been that I just need to do this regular podcast. So I got a lot of things in the work for the future and for the summer, and in the spring, which now is the spring. But in future spring, when I mean by spring, I'm like April and May. So I'll keep doing these regular podcasts, these shows, and these little clips that I have for you guys. So it should be fun. Follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays. Also, draft stuff will be happening as well with the E. I'm going to force him to get on the podcast with me. We're going to do a lot of draft stuff. And I'm going to force Don B to get up on draft stuff. Obviously, a review of the draft. Follow us on Twitter at I Live for Saturdays. 4 is the number 4. Like, comment, and subscribe, man. Peace.